Welcome to Simple Solutions, the podcast where big challenges meet practical answers. I've spoken on big stages. I've taught in classrooms. I've learned from some of the world's greatest speakers. And through it all, one principle remains true. Success leaves clues. On this show, we uncover those clues. We break down complex problems into clear, actionable strategies you can apply right now. So, if you are ready to grow, ready to lead, and ready to win, well, you are in the right place. This is Simple Solutions. Welcome to another episode of Simple Solutions, where we as entrepreneurs have big problems, but we give you the tools and the skills to find a simple solution. Now, today we have a special guest, a real treat. Now, she's a native of Mississippi. She holds a bachelor's degree in biology from Jackson State University, the son of boom of the South.
Right.
She holds a master of public health degree from the University of North Texas Health Science Center. She received her Doctor of Optometry degree from the University of Houston. She has been the owner and optometrist at Norwood Family Eye Care LLC since 2012. She now has her own private practice since March 2021. Y'all, please welcome Dr. Shaka Norwood. How you doing, Doctor?
Good. How are you? Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a pleasure. Thanks for joining. As y'all may be aware, we had some difficulties with the other studio, but here we are. Where there's a will, there's a way. So I know what. Now, do you go by Doctor or you go by Shaka? I'm okay what your friends call you.
Well, my friends call me Shaka, but when I'm in the office, I like to keep it professional. It's Dr. Norwood, so Dr. Shaka. So it doesn't matter. But people who know me for a long time, they just call me Shaka.
I love it. Well, hey, you know what? I'm gonna call you Doctor and Shaka. So
Okay.
probably what your friends call you. Now, when I saw, your resume, it was like Moses reading the law. It was like a big old scroll. I said, this guy got a lot of accolades here. So, kudos to you. And we're
Thank
gonna take that journey down memory lane. And I love talking to people from my native state. As I say, I'm from Mississippi as well. Now, what city are you from? For those who are not aware, where are you from?
I'm from Mound Bayou, Mississippi. It's a small all black town in the Mississippi Delta. Born and raised Mound Bayou, Mississippi.
I gotcha. You know what? I'm a little further south. I'm from Laurel, Mississippi, but I graduated from Hattiesburg. But I love my home state.
Yes.
One thing I do tell people who are not familiar with Mississippi, a couple things is true, right? One, we are very driven and ambitious people.
Yes.
We can definitely see that from your resume. Two, we are intelligent.
Right.
So a lot of smart people come out that state.
Yeah.
And three, I think we have the best cooks in the world, in my
Oh,
opinion.
yes. Absolutely.
Hands down, it's just the best. So, as you know, this is a show about helping entrepreneurs. And normally I speak to insurance agents,
hmm
agency owners, and things of that nature, because that's my lane.
hmm
But every now and then I bring in a special guest from a different industry. And you just so happen to be a doctor in optometry.
Yes.
So, kind of take us back. Did you always want to be a doctor growing up? Or, it just kind of fell in your lap? What happened?
Well, it's interesting because I am in the process of writing a book about my story because I do think it's kind of a unique story. Well, I started out about fourth or fifth grade. I figured out I could not see the board in class. So I went home, told my mom, and said, hey, I can't see the board. So it was six of us. So we couldn't really just go out to the optometrist's office and say, hey, pick out her some glasses. So it was about another year before I actually got my glasses. So I started wearing glasses around fifth grade. I got older, started playing basketball, found I needed some contact lenses to play basketball. So during my trips back and forth to the optometrist, breaking glasses, losing contacts, the optometrist actually introduced me to the world of optometry. He just said, have you ever thought about becoming an optometrist? And I had not, honestly, because I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. And so that just stuck with me. And I started to do research about optometry, went on to Jackson State to major in biology. Um, and then that's where my kind of pitfall came in when I found out that you had to have a gross anatomy class where you had to work with cadavers in optometry school. And so that kind of derailed my thinking about optometry. So I went to the University of North Texas, got a public health degree, still was not satisfied with the work that I was doing in public health. And so I said, I'm going to go back to optometry school. So I quit my job in public health and I went back to optometry school. I was 28 years old when I started and, I actually got to that gross anatomy class and, it wasn't a big deal at all. So that's how I got introduced to optometry and, the rest is history.
I got you. I love it. Almost like a superhero story. It's the origin of the optometry. It's still I
Yeah.
couldn't see,
Okay.
and then it just kind of fell in your lap. I'm going to ask you that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because my eyes started failing me when I turned about 36. Uh,
Okay.
I would try to watch the basketball game, man. The score at the bottom left, I'm like, man, why they playing? I can't see that. They're
Yes.
like, well, we can see. It's your job. So I appreciate it because I need glasses. So all right. So let's go to that journey. So first you got a powerful name, Shaka. Now what's the origin of that? Were you named after the singer Shaka Khan, or was that a different uh origin of that name?
Yeah, actually, my mom, she named me after Shaka Khan, but I actually I had a chance to go to Africa with my church that I was going to in Houston, and one of the natives there, he asked me my name, and he's like, "Do you know that's a powerful name?" He says, "Means strong warrior." So, I kind of accepted that, definition of my name, and
Yeah,
I, I like
I
it.
like it too. And then Norwood, that's another famous group of people, Brandon Norwood, Ray J, in a relations to that family.
No, actually, it's funny because I think Brandy's dad, he used to do work with the church down in Mount Bayou, and he was at my high school graduation. So I got a chance to talk to him with my dad at graduation, and they kind of figured out that we weren't any, relation. So, but I did get a chance to talk to Mr. Norwood, and he was at my high school graduation for some reason.
I just I got you. Check it out to see. So let's kind of go back now. So you mentioned it's six of you. You got five other siblings. Is that correct?
Yes, I have five sisters and brothers, three sisters and two brothers. We all grew up in Mount Bayou. I'm the oldest
Okay.
of the six, so I'm kind of the leader that they say. I'm the boss.
I got you. Hey, the strong way. So the end of your siblings follow in your footsteps. We can become a doctor or just being an entrepreneur.
No, well, actually, my siblings, two of my sisters are educators, and my one of my brothers, he's an educator as well. The other brother, he works in the insurance industry as an insurance adjuster. So he's out in California dealing with the fires and stuff that happen out there. So we're kind of all over the place. Just like I went to Jackson State, my brother went to Valley, my other brother went to Alcorn, my two other sisters went to the University of Memphis. So we are all over the place.
Oh man, I tell you, y'all are having a civil rivalry in that family. Got one sweat against the other.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so I'm more partial to Jackson State because coming
yeah,
from
mhm,
Hattiesburg and Laura, we all
yeah,
knew about the Son of Boom on the South.
yeah, yeah,
Although Alcorn was making waves back then, so we had to decide. So,
yeah.
always went with Jackson State. So, talk to me about those nights and days at college at Jackson State. You trying to
hmm
become a doctor. Um, Tell me about those long hours, if you had any. What was it like for you back then?
Well, I mean, I was always studious, as you say, I always, I got, the good grades. I stayed up late, if this project was due, I'm gonna take it down to the wire and, studying and everything. And I always say my one of my biggest regrets was I was studying for a biology test, and all of my line sisters went to New Orleans for the Mardi Gras, and I stayed in the room to study, and still did not do well on that test. But but I that's why I'm determined to do what I can.
Absolutely. I let the bad side of me say, hey, you should have went on with New Orleans.
Right.
You didn't pass anyway.
Yeah.
At least you could have had some fun.
Should have went to New Orleans.
I gotcha. So what did you pledge?
I'm a Delta. I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I pledged at the Jackson State University Delta Pi chapter, fall 1997.
I gotcha. I heard that. Say it with your chest, as they say. So how were you able to balance studying and also, I mean, let's just face it, Jackson State is a great institution for education. They also
Yes,
have a nice party scene as well.
they
So
do.
how are you able to balance and juggle that?
Well, I mean, I did it. I mean, it was always, I've always from high school, I was playing basketball in high school and studying. So I kind of had that balance, I knew when I needed to study, I knew when I could take a break. And I knew what my goal was. I was in school to get an education, not to party. So we had a good balance.
I gotcha. And I think that is a big challenge for a lot of people, especially when they're trying to become an entrepreneur. Learn how
Mm-hmm.
to balance the things that you want to do
Yeah,
versus the things that you have to do and need to do to
right.
be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, you went from Jackson State, you
Mm-hmm.
graduated, and then you went on to the University of North Texas Health Sciences Center. Now, was it online or did you actually move to Texas?
No, I actually I graduated and then I 2 months later I moved to Texas. Actually, I my uncle lives in Fort Worth, and he was like, "You can come and stay with me." So I moved in with my uncle for about a year or so, and then I branched off onto my own. But then got that master's degree. It took me about 18 months. It didn't, I didn't take the whole time, but three of my other classmates from Jackson State, they went to University of North Texas with me as well. So I wasn't, I had friends there, I had family there. So it was a good time.
Yeah, I
But,
love
after I graduated, we were all, we were supposed to have these great jobs in public health, and we could not find one. And all of us just ended up kind of doing something else
yeah.
after that program.
Yeah, I hear a lot, with people with degrees and things of that nature. They graduate,
Mhm.
uh, but they can't find that within that field. Not right off the back,
Yeah,
Eventually, they may circle back and find something within that field, but in the beginning, it may be a little challenging.
yeah.
Talk to me about the support, because
Mm-hmm.
once again, trying to go through college and also trying to build a business,
Mm-hmm.
family support. Do you think that's important?
Oh, it's absolutely important. I mean, you have to have, people behind you, because it's going to be days when you just get down and you think things are not going right, and you got to have somebody in your corner to say it's going to be okay, encourage you, strengthen you, along with, trying to stay in your word, but you got to have family support.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that too. I hear a lot of people when I go to conferences or I speak at conferences, and they
Mm-hmm.
may say something like, "Well, I'm self-made."
Mm-hmm.
And John
No.
Maxwell, he said, "You know what? That is a lonely, lonely statement.
Yeah.
It's,
Mm-hmm.
it's very lonely. So support, comes. You need that rah-rah from time
Yeah.
to time.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
So ups and downs. So,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of those challenges that you went through? So,
Mm-hmm.
let's just say that if it's a young girl or a young guy right now
Mm-hmm.
want to pursue and become a doctor in optometry, what are some of the challenges they may have to be aware of?
Well, I guess in particular to optometry and private practice is where you are the owner of the practice. You don't have a corporate, logo hanging on your building. So you're in competition with those people that are at the bigger name stores. They have big marketing budgets. They have unlimited buying power because they buy a million frames at one time, and you can only buy a couple, so they get a bigger discount in their volume pricing. um, there are low insurance reimbursements, so you got tighter profit margins. The administrative burden of handling those insurance claims. You got to staff, hire, rehire, find the right fit, find the right personality. It's just high overhead costs, keep up with technology, but at the end of the day, it all balances out, and you just have to offer the services that people want, a more specialized care, more things are different from the corporate, so those are some of the challenges specific to, optometry. But, I would say it's worth it in the end.
Absolutely. Uh, Anything worth having, you can have to fight
Hmm.
for it.
Yes.
Uh, so let me ask you this. What would be the benefits of going to private practice
Hmm.
versus work for a corporation, as you mentioned, or
Hmm.
vice versa? What would be some of the benefits of work for a corporation versus private practice?
Hmm. Well, in private practice, you have your autonomy. So you build your schedule, you build your brand, you can have your schedule as flexible as you would like. You can just fit your office to how you want to, instead of answering to the corporate, people. They say you need to see six people in an hour, whereas, in 1 hour you want to see two people because you want to give that person the amount of time that they need, so they can feel seen and feel heard, about their needs. So it's just, you have something to be proud of. It's your name on the door. You're making it happen, and you can, be proud of that.
Yeah, I
In
love
a
it.
in a corporate setting, you are pushing their brand, you're pushing their product. So um, when you work for yourself, you're self branding.
I gotcha.
Hmm.
And branding to me is very important. All
Hmm.
right. It's your reputation. It's your
Yeah.
baby. I got two kids. So I was like, hey, these are my
Hmm.
babies.
Yeah.
Um, why is branding important for you though?
Okay. Well, I just want to put myself out there as being a genuine person, an optometrist that cares about your needs. You're not going to come in here and tell me something, and I'm going to look over it. I'm going to go to every length to find out that, hey, this is, what's wrong, and this is how we can fix it. So the brand of genuineness and community is my thing.
Yeah, I love it. So, and I know we kind of fast forward, so we can kind of go back a little bit because I want to hear this story all the way. I guess I'll
Okay.
give you exclusive because you can write a book. So you need to
Yes.
add author to the whole laundry list of accolades. So, congratulations. That is
Thank
amazing.
you.
Now, did you come from a family of doctors or a family of entrepreneurs?
No, I didn't have any doctors in my family, no entrepreneurs. I had one uncle. He was an attorney, and he had his own law practice, but it wasn't a widespread family thing. So I grew up, and I saw what I didn't want in life, and just and kind of did the opposite. This is
Yeah,
what I want. This is what I don't want. And so, I mean, I actually didn't set out to become an entrepreneur because I had lived in Texas for a long while. I came back to Jackson, Mississippi, and worked for another optometrist, and she and once my contract was up, I was like, oh, my family lives in Memphis. I'm 3 hours away still. So let me just move to Memphis. And I interviewed for a few jobs, and I did not get them. And so a sublease came available in Jackson, Tennessee at Sam's Club. And so that was my start of being an entrepreneur. I wasn't looking for it, but I was presented with the opportunity. And I said, well, why not? And so I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah. And so was that the birth of Norwood Family Eye Care
Yeah.
LLC?
Yes, in 2012 when I started my sublease at Sam's Club, and still working in a corporation, you still have to kind of abide by their rules. They say you need to be here this many days a week. This is how many days a week you have to work. But, that was still my own practice. But I was still under the umbrella of Sam's Club and eventually got a Walmart lease as well. But when I opened Norwood Family Eye Care, that was totally me. I can, do the hours that I want to do, and nobody will question, if I need to take off, go to a conference or anything like that.
Yeah, I love that. Now, how were you able to grow your business and attract customers? Because that's one of the challenges that a lot of life insurance agents
Mm-hmm.
face, or
Mm-hmm.
just no entrepreneurs in general. How
Yeah.
can I attract people? So, how did you do it?
Well, I guess me being in the Walmart setting, you kind of attract the Walmart shoppers. And once I got those patients in there, they became loyal patients because of the care that I gave them. And they followed me over to my private practice as well. So I like to think the patients that I attract, those are the ones that who tell other people, hey, you need to go see Dr. Norwood. So, I have Facebook and, Instagram and things like that. But my referrals, the ones that I just absolutely love, is the people who tell other people to come in and see me because they enjoyed their experience.
Yeah, no referrals. I
Hmm.
understand that. And once again, the reputation.
Hmm.
You could do 100 people great service.
Yeah.
You get that one bad report, it just
Yeah.
kind of
Hmm.
crush those.
Yeah.
But
And that's what, being an entrepreneur, like you can get 10 5-star reviews, and that one person who said your price was too high, or your policies made me have to pay my balance on my bill, those things that absolutely crush you, because I'm so sensitive about my brand and my office, and I want everybody to be happy. But I know that's not possible, but still, when you get that one person you cannot please, it crushes you. And so I'm trying to be better about that, because I know that there's always going to be that one person, but I have to just lean on the people that do support.
yeah, absolutely. Um, One thing about that, that one person or those few
Hmm.
people, sometimes you just can't please them. Although we're
Right.
in the people business,
Yeah.
and we want to make everybody happy,
Hmm.
but that's just not
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah.
So I just start loving the ones I'm with. Just
Hmm.
love on them and love on them. Uh, and it's amazing because no matter what industry you may be in, we all face the same challenges. We
Hmm.
have the same thing in the
Exactly.
insurance industry, you know.
Hmm.
And I don't pay out the death claims,
Yeah.
or the premium. I'm not getting your money. That is going towards the insurance companies.
Yeah.
But, you just have those challenges like that.
Hmm.
So once again, we're going to stay in that story here, that journey. So now you at Sam's, and then eventually you go to Walmart. What
Yeah.
made you leave from Sam's to go to Walmart?
Well, actually, I didn't leave Sam's. I had Sam's Club in Jackson, Tennessee, and the Walmart came available here in Memphis. And I was working both places. I eventually had, other doctors filling in for me. And I eventually had another Sam's Club in Memphis as well. So I had three offices all at one time. So I had one fill-in doctor, and she was, coming faithfully, and then she had a baby and she decided not to come back. So I was like, something has to give. I got to give some of these places up so I can focus, more on, one thing. So I closed the Walmart. Closed the Sam's in Jackson, and the Sam's in Memphis was at the Walmart. And then eventually that's when I said, I have to start a private practice. But then there were the bumps in the road with, applied to every bank. Every bank turned me down. Even though I had, 800 credit score, they was like, need collateral, you need, a cosigner, you need this, you need that. And so eventually First Horizon gave me my loan for my private practice. And then, but COVID hit 2020. So I was like, okay, can't open a practice during the pandemic. And then I saw that my other colleagues were still running their private practices during the pandemic. And so eventually I came back around and we started, to get things rolling again and eventually open up 2021 March. So this month makes 5 years for private practice.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
I know all about the pandemic. Same thing
Mhm,
happened to me. I got my insurance license in 2018 and no sweat equity, hard work.
mhm.
Finally became an agency owner, opening my office downtown Memphis. 2 months
Mhm.
later, pandemic. So
Yeah.
like, here we go.
Mhm,
But with the insurance industry, we was able to pivot and everything became remote. So now I just work out either, out of this office or my other
mhm.
office over there. So, but yeah. And those are some of the challenges. Now, as an employee, you won't go through that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as the owner, you got to
Mhm.
go through that.
Yeah.
So, how are you able to pull yourself through that? You have 800 credit score,
Mhm.
over 12 years of experience as an optometrist, but
Mhm.
you keep getting declined. Well, what pulled you through?
Well, I mean, I just had faith that, if God was putting that on my heart to be a private practice owner, then there was some validity to that and he was going to make a way for me. So, I just started looking, at the smaller banks. I thought maybe the bigger banks would help. And, we have all these optometry meetings and, we have Bank of America and Wells Fargo. They say, hey, come to us and, we can get you a loan for your practice. And sometimes they just want to deny you. And, who knows why.
Yeah. You may not even your money.
Hmm.
Let it go. Guess
Right.
somebody over just making decisions. It ain't even their money. So I completely understand that. Now, earlier in your story, you did mention you went to some conferences, or they do have conferences now.
Hmm.
Are you still attending conferences throughout the year? Is it annually or monthly?
Yeah, I attend the National Optometric Association conference every year. That's a conference for Black optometrists because in the beginning we were not welcome into the white association. Um, so the National Optometric Association was founded. So I go to that every year, and I'm also a part of a group called Ebony Eagles, and it's a small group of Black private practice owners, optometrists, and we get together twice a year. Actually, going in a couple of weeks to meet with them, and we talk about best practices, how to run your practice, and make money while doing it. And I'm a member of the American Optometric Association. And since I did practice in Mississippi, I'm still a member of the Mississippi Optometric Association. Um, so I go to quite a few conferences, but of course we have to get continuing education, but it's just, the camaraderie of, mingling with other people who do what you do so that, you can have a conversation, they know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah. And you would get that from a lot of people say, I don't need that rah rah. I don't need those conferences. We
Hmm.
have insurance conferences, uh, like I say, annually, and I go to
Hmm.
about 3 or 4 a year. Uh,
Hmm.
just be around those people.
Yeah.
But I find a lot of people who don't want to get around, successful people in their field.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I absolutely love it. I mean, if and you're doing what I'm doing and you're doing it better, tell me how you're doing it so I can, be better. So I'm always looking for advice, direction on something, on how to do something better.
yeah. So once again, we give people simple solutions. Now she
Mhm.
just dropped a nugget right there. She's hungry. And she's looking for advice, even as a doctor. I'll
Hmm.
tell people ego is one of the most expensive things you could own.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And one thing I did learn about successful people, they want to give you the information.
Hmm.
They
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for that. Now, you in your private practice now, and you say you do not come from a family of entrepreneurs. So how did you go about learning how to hire staff, getting, I guess, the contracts with the different eyewear? Like, how did you learn that?
Yeah. A trial and error, like for real. Like, but I do have an optometry mentor. She helped me, when I first started out with, in the practice, and, told me what equipment I should buy, and, how to do this and how to do that. But it's a lot of trial and error. You figure it out. Like, I'm a person, like, I'm gonna try it. If I don't get it right, then I'm gonna ask somebody how to do it. So it's a lot of trial and error.
Yeah,
You can't be scared to fail.
I was just about to ask. So you're not afraid to fail?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Now, a lot of people are.
Hmm.
So why aren't you afraid to fail?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, that's just something in me. It's like if I feel like there's something that I need or want to do, like I'm gonna try it. And if it doesn't work out, then it's okay. Just go on to the next or try it again or try something different. But I'm just not afraid to fail. Like that's just I don't know where it comes from, but if I want something, I'm gonna try it at least.
Yeah. That's eternal. A lot of people at a job that they hate and they
Hmm.
complain about it every day.
Yeah,
And they're just afraid to step out like you did and get your own private practice.
yeah,
They're just afraid.
yeah. I mean, I just tell people, make a plan, but there's not gonna be a right time to do it. So make your plan, do it scared, and don't be afraid to fail. And just you gotta balance it like that. It's gonna be hard work. You just can't can't give up.
Yeah. You can't, because one thing, if you never try, it's gonna be a laundry list of regrets.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, nothing
And-
fails but a try. And I think that's why, when I was working in public, excuse me, public health, I still wanted to go to optometry school. And I was like, well, you didn't try because you just saw that you had to do a cadaver and you just gave up. And so I had to try.
Yeah. Yep. I love that stick to itness.
Mm-hmm.
And don't say across the board, success is the same, it leaves clues, as people
Mm-hmm.
say. Hard work, dedication, and also failure,
Yeah.
leaves clues as well. You did mention you had a mentor. So,
Yeah.
do you still have the same mentor, or have you had several mentors throughout your career?
Yeah, I still have the same one, and I mean, I have several, people that I, call, check in with. So, they may be colleagues that graduated with me, but still, I consider them as a mentor because one has been in private practice since she graduated, 16 years ago. So, she's been doing it a little bit longer than me. So, the questions that I ask her, she can, answer them. I can answer questions for some people. I do have, mentees that are, in optometry school now. So, I just try to pour into them and, I don't like to sugarcoat it. I speak to students and I just don't sugarcoat what the process was for me. And, in that I have some of them come up to me after the event and say, hey, Dr. Norwood, I'm struggling with this. I'm glad you said that. I'm going through the same thing. I see you did it and I can do it. So,
Yeah, people need that rawness.
mhm,
Uh, I see a lot of things on social media, even on TV. I remember back in the day, I used to watch these commercials like, you can make all this money.
mhm,
And I'd have tried everything in
mhm.
sales. That's
Yeah,
legal and ethical. Let's put that
yeah.
out there. I'd have tried it all. I'd have sold Noonie Juice, which was
Mhm,
popular back in the day. I'd have sold Motor V. I'd have tried prepaid legal while I still
mhm,
worked my full-time job.
mhm,
But most people was not giving it to me raw. They kept saying you can do this, but not
mhm.
telling me like, but you need to expect this.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Hmm.
happen.
Yeah.
So if somebody trying to become an entrepreneur, what's some things that they may run into? Not just with optometry,
Hmm.
uh, just life. What's some
I
things
mean,
that people can become aware of?
you're gonna have to be accept rejection, as an entrepreneur. You're gonna have to accept criticism. You're gonna have to accept that, you're not gonna be able to please everybody. But if it's in your passion, you go for it, and it's no perfect time to start. Just, you know, get to it and stick with it.
Yeah. So, and that's the sad part. That's the negative part. All right. The no's. Sometimes you feel like you're not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
The thought of your mind tell you to
Yeah.
quit.
Yeah.
But talk to me about that feeling when
Mm-hmm.
First Horizon gave you the approval, and now your dreams are becoming a reality. What was that
Mm-hmm.
feeling like for you?
I was just like, finally, somebody has listened to me, and they think I can do this, and they're giving me an opportunity. So, I just took the opportunity and ran with it. It was just, after rejection from everybody, they were kind of my, last hope and last resort. And they just was like, it was no question. I didn't have to jump through hoops. I didn't have to go get co-signers. I didn't have to do all that. So I'm, very grateful to First Horizon.
Yeah. Now, how many, banks told you no before you got that yes? You talk about maybe
Oh,
one, or is it 10?
no, it was at least three, the
Three.
big banks.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Hmm. Yeah.
And the reason why I asked that because a lot of people they get that one no or that
Mm,
rejection and the
yeah.
sky has fallen.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm
You
like,
know.
well, just okay. And I already got my information. Let me take it to the next bank.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing I tell now a lot of young men. So many guys missed out on opportunities of dating the most popular girl at school
Hmm.
because they were afraid. Now
Hmm.
somebody told them no, and he was like, man, you know what? But he could have shot your shot, right?
Yeah.
And somebody say, no, hey, keep on shooting that shot. And that's what I
Hmm.
learned as I, got older. Like, continue to shoot your shot for your life.
Hmm.
Because if you don't write the story in your book, somebody's gonna write
Right.
it for you.
Mm,
And I didn't
exactly.
want that. You mentioned autonomy quite often.
Hmm.
Why is autonomy important for you?
Well, I mean, I guess it's because I can, you know, live my life how I want to, you know. So if I figure out that, optometry is just not for me, I have this business, it's sellable, you know. I can sell it to somebody, I can make a profit from it, I can pass it down. It's just the pride in, having something of your own, you run your business on your terms.
hmm That's a great feeling too. You know, I'd have managed, several different retail stores. Um, my fourth state, 9 cities. I'd have lived in 9 cities rather. Just trying to climb the corporate ladder, but I never owned it. And
Mm-hmm.
I can remember when I finally succeeded and I got my own company, and I said and I signed a contract, knowing that if I die, my wife will have the practice. Of my kids, I give to them, or I can sell it. That is a blessing that I can't put a number on.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Exactly.
can imagine you feel the same way about yours as well.
Hmm. Yeah, and I'm trying to get my nieces to say, "Hey, I want to be an eye doctor," but so they can have something. But I don't know if I can wait till she's finished with optometry school because she's just in the eighth grade.
Hey, you know what? It's gonna be an investment into your niece, like your uncle invested to you when you went to
Yeah.
Houston. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
just passing down that legacy. And I bet he's proud of you too. I can imagine.
Yes, he
Yeah,
is there.
just not get that return on that investment. Now, we're gonna kind of wrap this up a little bit. What advice will you give anyone? Whether
Hmm.
gonna be trying to pursue a degree in optometry or just entrepreneurship?
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
what advice will you give them to help them push through their trials and tribulation that they may be currently going through now?
Hmm. Well, I just have to say, life is gonna life. but you have to keep your eye on the goal, what you set. So, I had a goal. I wanted to go to optometry school, and there was still life over here, but I had to separate life from my goals. So nothing in life was going to make me not fill out the application, not go take the classes that I needed, not, you know, get the community service hours or the optometry shadowing hours that I needed, because the life was still going to go on. But what you did after life kind of calmed down, then you're going to be stuck if you didn't try to move forward. So just let life and focus on your goals. That's what I had to do.
It's not gonna stop. It's not
No,
gonna wait.
it's not.
Uh, Now, do you have a morning routine to get you going?
Yeah, I actually, my alarm is set for 5 a.m. every morning. Sometimes I don't get up at 5, but from 5 to 6, I get up, I drink me some tea. I try to get off coffee, but I read my devotion and I pray and I go and work out for 30 minutes to an hour sometimes. I get dressed and come to my office, and I like to be here before anybody else gets here. And that's when I'm most productive and get a lot of stuff done, admin tasks before anybody gets here in the office in the morning time. So really that's what I do every morning.
Yeah. Kind of get some time to yourself,
Hmm.
meditate. Now, do you journal? Or your journal?
No, I don't journal. I don't really like to write stuff down. But this book is kind of helping me with that. Uh, but I just, kind of sit and talk to God and, but I don't write a lot of stuff down.
Yeah. It's a skill that I had to acquire.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it was challenging because I didn't like writing. I didn't like reading. I used to love watching TV.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
but a guy told me is that if you want to grow and develop, leaders are readers.
Hmm.
And I said, man, give me the cliff notes. But
Right.
I was amazed how far you can progress by reading because they give people the tools in these
Hmm.
books to succeed. And,
Hmm.
I just was not doing it when I was younger. So now
Yeah.
I'm a huge reader and I write a lot now. So
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
awesome. Now, the last thing, how has your life changed as being an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
have your own practice versus work for corporate America?
Well, I guess when I've never really worked for corporate America. When I graduated, I worked at a private practice for an optometrist. But I mean, now that I look back at that, it was so stress free. I would go to work, I would see my patients, I would go home, take my PTO when I needed it, and got my paycheck. But now, as an entrepreneur, the work never stops. I come to work, I go home, work some more, and get up, come back to work, and I go on vacation. Sometimes I have to just stop myself from taking my laptop. There's work to do there. I don't have a lot of time to just like casually, socialize or sit around and do things. But when I do have time to myself, I'd like to be at home, not out and about. But the work is always there. So that's one thing I miss about, just working for somebody else is, I could go to work and leave it there.
Yeah. You can pass that buck. Hey, I'm not the manager. This is yours.
Yes.
Uh, but as an employee, you cannot pass it to the kids or to
Mm,
the spouse or the niece in your situation.
yeah.
So I understand that. Now, do you have a way to digress? You do have a morning ritual, but and I know
Hmm.
you said the work don't stop, but do you
Yeah.
have a way to kind of just digress for the day, maybe 10 minutes or an hour? Or do you have that
Well,
type of practice?
sometimes I have to make myself go home and just stop and do something. I recently bought a massage chair. So I go home and I get in that massage chair and, just kind of relax for a little bit. And I do like to watch, the reality TV because it kind of zoned you out. That's their drama, not my drama.
Make you grateful for your life. Like,
Yeah, yes. Right. I was like,
yeah,
my friends are not like that. But yeah, so I kind of have to make myself, just stop when I go home. Because sometimes I'll go home and just immediately open a laptop and, my husband has to say, you need to be present. So I'm trying to be more present with him.
yeah. That was a challenge for me too. I want to say around about 2019,
Hmm.
when I first made, over 100,000. I never made it prior to that.
Hmm.
And, it can become contagious. Like, man,
Yeah.
I want to keep feeding myself that. And I can remember he's 7 now, but at the
Hmm.
time, my oldest son, I guess around about 5 or 4, whatever.
Hmm.
And my wife and him was looking at some photos. And he was like, Mom, why is Dad's never in these pictures?
Hmm.
And they're like, well, he's always working.
Yeah.
And it just kind of clicked. I said, okay, I got to have time and money. Time and
Yeah.
money. And so now I enjoy, I have found a way to kind of digress, but
Hmm.
it was hard, especially
Yeah.
when you win it. And
Hmm.
especially when you fail. Okay, if I fail, I'm trying to learn quickly. Like, hey, I need
Yeah.
to rebound. But I didn't want to keep on neglecting the most important thing, which is my wife and my kids
Mhm.
for money. So
Yeah.
I could definitely understand what you were saying. It could be like that.
Mhm.
Could be. Well, I just want to give you your praises. I'm going to call you Doctor. Although your friends call you Shaka. And when I say I'm going to call you Shaka, because now we will be friends.
Okay.
But I'm just super proud of what you have accomplished. Now you live in Bartlett as well.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so do I. For those who are not familiar with Memphis, Bartlett is Memphis, if you're not from Memphis.
Right.
But if you live in Memphis, they would say it's Bartlett. They try to keep us separated. But we're here in Memphis. And I tell you, it was a pleasure speaking with you, Dr.
Yes.
Shaka.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Now, if y'all ever need, any life insurance or you have a 30-year mortgage where you need to pay it off within 90 years or less while building compound interest, I'm your guy. However, if you need somebody to take a look at your eyes and maybe have to transition from glasses to contacts or laser surgery, well then Dr. Shaka is your lady. With that, y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We just wrapped up another episode of Simple Solutions. The question is, did you catch the clues? Success isn't complicated, the answers are often simple, but only if you're willing to look for them and apply them. Keep pursuing your goals with passion. Remember, tough times don't last, but tough people do. Until next time, stay focused, stay driven, and keep finding the simple solutions.